Hi, how's it going? I just wanted to say thanks to everyone that subscribed to the first video that came out, and this is just one to compliment that. We're basically going to go through a quick lesson of how we can learn guitar chords. It might seem like quite a straightforward thing, but I've had a few questions from people offline to see if I can do a lesson on this. When we think about learning guitar chords, it seems like the most fundamental thing we can do on the guitar, but there are ways that we can learn and think about things at the start of our playing and actually help ourselves further down the line. So I'm going to go through a few chords. They're very basic chords, but it gives you an idea of different ways to think about them. So, what should we do first? First of all, we need to grab a plectrum. Preferably one that's quite bright coloured, so then we won't lose it, because there's another dimension that plectrums go to. I must have lost about 4,000 plectrums in my life, and no matter how many times you move house or redecorate a room, it doesn't matter because you still don't find them. They just go to some other dimension. So keep a nice little bright one, and it shouldn't be too stiff or too soft. About 0.8 mils, perfectly fine for strumming. If you go too soft, it's not going to make enough sound when you hit the strings, and you're going to find it really hard. So let's go through some chords, some basic chords. I'm going to go through 5 chords today, and then I'll build on that in another lesson. So the first chord we're going to go through is the E major chord, which is the fundamental chord that everyone kind of learns as they play guitar, but there's a few different ways to think about it. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to learn the guitar chords in the right order and using the right way of doing it. So I'm going to go through the different numberings of the fingers. So we call this one the first finger, this one the second finger, this one the third finger, and this one the fourth finger, and this one the thumb. So when I refer to them, that's what I'm going on about. So we take our first finger and we position that there on the first fret on the G string, or the third string up. So there. We then take our second finger and place that on the second fret on the 5th string, or the second thickest one. And then we take our third finger and we position that on the string below we've just done. So on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. So we now have that shape. So that's the E major chord. So the reason we can remember that is that we've got that open E at the top. And then when we play through the chord, we can hear it all complements that first string. Right, so the best way to learn this is to work very, very slowly and get it all precise. And you just need to make sure that you're not touching any of the other strings with your fingers. So you may find that you have to bend your fingers in ways that you never thought you would. So we're really trying to bend it at kind of the second knuckle. As you can sort of see there, that we're bending it there. So that's the E major chord. So what we do next is we can do a different way of thinking that. So although that's great for an open E, it doesn't really help us when we get later down the line as trying to play bar chords, and I'll come on to what they are in a different lesson. But if we want to progress more quickly, we want to think of different ways of fingering different chords. So we can change our fingers around basically. So we want to basically knock all the fingers back one. So we end up with the little finger where the third one was, the third with the second, and vice versa. So we then switch our fingers around. So we put the little finger there on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string from the top, and then we play the 3rd finger goes on the 2nd fret on the string above that, and then the 2nd finger goes on the 3rd string from the bottom. On the G string, it goes on the 1st fret. So we get the same sound, obviously, because all we've done is move the fingers around. But what this does is it prepares us for moving on to bar chords. So what we do with bar chords is we move the shape around on this version of the bar chord. So if I wanted to play an F, for example, I would move that up one semitone. I'll go into semitones in our lesson, but I'll play it there. So all we've done there is move this note up. All the notes have essentially moved up the guitar. So we've gone from our Elvis on, you see. So that's the two different versions of playing E major. The easiest way of learning the chords is to just take it really, really slowly and just work through it at your own pace. Don't rush it, because you'll just end up making mistakes. So take it really slowly, get the fingering right, and it's better to go through the strings and make sure you're getting a clean contact. So you're going. So with that clean contact, you can hear all the strings will ring out. You don't want it to go, because that means you've got fingers that are slightly bent. So you want to sort of rotate your hand round. You've probably not got your hand in the right position. I've got quite a large hand, so I can get around the neck quite easily. So probably the easiest way to build strength is to get your thumb behind the guitar neck and support yourself. So you're almost like pushing against the fingers with your thumb. It will be hard on you for a bit, but it'll definitely be worth it. So that's the E major. So the next chord we can move on to, which is relatively simple change, is the A major chord. So what we need to do is we then move from this chord shape, if we want to change from it, so the E. So what we'll do is we take an open A string, so that's got no fretted strings on it. We then take the first finger, put that on the second fret on the D string, or the third string from the top. We take the second finger and put that on the G string, on the third string from the bottom. We then take the third finger and put that on the second fret on the second string from the bottom. So from that point we want to strum the whole chord, but we want to make sure that we don't hit the top E string, because that clashes and is a slightly different version of the A major chord. So we want to try and start off from the A string, or the fifth string from the bottom basically. So if we play it all together, here it rings. Nice clean chord. It's quite an easy one to remember this, because the fingers are almost all bunched together. So we've got the first finger on the second fret there, and they all follow suit basically in the same. So although they're kind of played together, if you see a chord diagram, it's not really, you have to kind of make room for your fingers depending on the size of your hand, but you make room and you make almost a diagonal shape across the fret. Okay? So what we do now is we move on to the next chord, which is the D major chord. So using the same premise, we're not playing either the top string or the next string down, because they will clash with the D, because that's an E and an A, and they normally, when you play a chord, you would play normally the first note of the chord. So i.e. an E major, you would play an E to start with, an A major, an A, a D major, it would all follow suit like that. There are obviously changes to that, but we won't go into that here because we're just trying to teach you how to learn guitar chords. So for the next bit, we want to play the open D, and then we want to play the first finger on the second fret on the G string, which is the third string from the bottom, and then we want to play the third finger, so we miss out a finger almost, and then we play that on the B string on the third fret, and then we play the second finger goes on the string where it would naturally sit, which is on the second fret on the first string. So if we play from the D, we can hear it rings out nice. So we've got the three chords to start with, and you'll find that they all link together. So we've got the E major, we've got the A major, and we've got the D major. Okay, so that's three to start with. So they all link together. So from that, we'll then learn another chord which complements the D major. So we're going to learn the G, which is quite a common chord in popular music now. So what we do is we take the second finger, this is quite a stretch actually, so we want to put the second finger on the third fret on the top string, on the thickest string. Then we take the first finger and we put that on the second fret on the second string from the top. So next we miss out the next 2 strings, and then we play on the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. And then the little finger just sits below that one on the 3rd fret on the 1st string. So if we play it all together, okay, the G. There is a slightly different version if you're struggling to get all those fingers on at once, because it's quite a press, but just remember to use your thumb behind. But if you are struggling, you can switch, take the little finger off and put the 3rd finger in the position of where the little finger was. So you've got 3 open strings there. So here it has a slightly more open sound, whereas the full chord with the little finger at the bottom sort of closes the bottom there. We'll go into the differences between those later on, but this is just to get the idea in your head. So the final chord I'm going to teach you is the C major. So there's 2 different ways of playing this. We can either miss a string at the top, because we don't want to play the E at the start, because that obviously clashes and that isn't a C major chord. So we want to take the 3rd finger, put that on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string from the top. And then we want to go put the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret on the D string. So that's just behind basically where the other one was on. So we got those. Then we miss the next string, that's the open G. And then we play the C on the 1st fret with our 1st finger on the 2nd string from the bottom. That's a C note. So we go, so we want to basically play from the 2nd thickest string. So ignore the top string. So that gives us a C major. If you're feeling slightly adventurous, you can play by putting the little finger where your 3rd finger is, and then putting the 3rd finger on the string at the top. That gives you a slightly fuller bass sound, and it brings it all together. So you can tell the difference. Just brings the lower end a bit more. So the best way to do it is to really focus on being really clean with your notes. So you need to make sure that they're all ringing out together, and just like they all ring out nicely. If they start muffling, it sounds terrible, and you will know. Normally you'll find that if you're muffling the strings, it'll be because your hand's not quite in the right position. So if you're quite closed with your grip, it'll just sound terrible. But if you could just rotate your hand around, you'll probably find that you'll open it up nicely. So you just imagine if you're getting a muffled sound, it means something stopping that string from ringing. You want to get that as clean as possible. So you want to be fretting just behind the frets, basically. You'll be able to move to nearer the middle as you progress more and you become more advanced with your playing. But when you first start, you really want to be quite close to the fret, not on the fret, because then you'll start to muffle and be over the fret, which is basically where you're positioning your fingers to basically make that fret ring. Because the way it works is you move your finger up from essentially behind the nut is an open string, and then you go just behind the fret, so your nut essentially moves up to the fret. So you want to make sure that that fret is easy to ring out and ring in its own place. So I'll just go through the chords one more time, just in order. So we've got E major, A major, just remember not to play the top string. Okay. D major, forget to play the top 2 strings. G major version 1. G major version 2. C major, but forget to play the top open E string. And then we can play the full C major with the G at the top. So I hope that's been an easy way of how to learn guitar chords. And if you do have any questions, just stick them in the comments below, because I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you have any specific questions, just email me, learn@fretsuccess.com. And basically, yeah, anything goes. Just drop us a line if you fancy having a chat, it's fine. So let's leave it there, and we'll play some more chords next time. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much for watching, guys. You can subscribe below and get updates on all the videos that are coming from the channel. And you can get all the notation from below. If you go to the description, it'll tell you exactly how to get them. See you again. Cheers.